Railroading in dark territory always has its risks. Without signals to follow, all you can rely on are track warrants. And you better read those carefully, because if you don't, it could cause a catastrophic disaster. And that's exactly what happened in Texas 15 years ago, which came to be known as the Gunter Train Collision. On May 19, 2004, two BNSF rock trains were running in opposite directions on the ex-Frisco line just north of Dallas, Texas. The southernmost point on that subdivision was Irving, Texas, where the northbound train left from. Its call sign was BNSF 6351 North, and the power was 4 SD40-2s. 6351 leading, formerly Santa Fe 5036, FURX lease unit 8099, a former BN locomotive, and another lease unit from First Union Rail, 3052, which was ex-Canadian Pacific, and finally another BNSF SD40-2, 7806. As mentioned earlier, this line was in dark territory, or in other words, unsignaled territory. According to 6351 North's track warrant, it had priority over another rock train, a southbound. The call sign for this train was BNSF 6789 South. The power consisted of 3 locomotives. The leader was SD40-2, you guessed it, 6789, an ex-Santa Fe GP60M 142, and yet another BNSF SD40-2, 7138. The point on the line where the trains were scheduled to pass was Dorchester Siding, which was around milepost 657.7. The milepost numbers on this line went higher as you go further south toward Irving. The track warrant for 6789 South specifically read that it did not take effect until the arrival of 6351 North. Then, only after 6351 passed, were they to proceed further south. The track warrant was either misread or ignored by the crew, because they proceeded past the south junction of Dorchester Siding, back onto the single-tracked main where 6351 was heading in the opposite direction on the same track. At milepost 661.9, both trains came into view, getting closer and closer to one another. And then... the trains collide head-on near the town of Gunther, 4 miles south of Dorchester Siding. The estimated combined speed was in excess of 60 miles an hour. In the chaos of the wreck, the engineer of 6789 was killed, while the other crew members of both trains suffered injuries. It didn't take very much time for the National Transportation Safety Board to find the smoking gun, which was the track warrant for 6789. If you look at box number 7, which says not in effect until after arrival of 6351 North at South Dorchester, you can see where the crew made an error. Although we don't really know how they made the error, or what contributed to it, whether they were asleep, drunk, tired, or something else, this tiny oversight cost the engineer his life. If 6789's crew read their track warrant more carefully, or alternatively, if the line was equipped with positive train control, the collision would have been prevented. But we can't just rely on computers to do all the work for us. After the wreck, 6351 and all the locomotives of the southbound train, which were 6789, 142, and 7138, were considered totaled and scrapped. The 4 other engines involved were repaired and returned to service to continue their careers. Train crews' actions and inactions can result in deadly disasters, and it was 6789's crew's inactions, not reading their track warrant carefully enough, that puts them at fault for the Gunter Train Collision. Let's hope train crews of today have learned the mistakes of the crew of 6789 15 years ago, so they know not to make those same mistakes again. So have they learned? Apparently not really, because 11 years after that in 2015, in Georgia, A head-on collision on NS happened under very similar circumstances. So to make the railroads as safe as possible here in North America, shouldn't we just install signals everywhere and phase out track warrants entirely? Seems to me like that would be the best option.